my fellow class of 2015, family members, and honored guests. I stand before you today to introduce Ms. Valerie Plame. I have known Ms. Plame since I was a child. She happened to be one of my mother's sorority sisters at Penn State University, which is one of the main reasons that we have her here with us today. As graduates getting ready to make our own way in the big world, there are important values we all need to know. Service, integrity, and honor are a few of those values we hold so high. That is why we have Ms. Plame here, because she's an excellent example of all three of those values. As a CIA operative, she went all over the world and risked her life completing hundreds of missions in service of our country. Being an operative, she showed immense integrity every day, having to keep a whole other life secret from her closest friends and even some family members. Ms. Plame was an operative from 1985 to 2003. In all 18 years, she kept her honor as she helped keep our country safe and her honor as a great American. Ms. Plame, we thank you for your years of distinguished service, and we thank you even more for taking the time to come and speak for us today. Ladies and gentlemen, Ms. Valerie Plame.
Hi, good evening. To the class of 2015, your parents and family, and the dedicated faculty and staff of Wiesbaden High School, heartfelt congratulations. Yes, go ahead and clap. Thank you, Jack, for your kind introduction. When my dear friend Kathy Tone, Jack's mother, asked me to consider coming and giving the commencement address this evening, I was so flattered and excited. Although I've never been to Wiesbaden, it turns out I have really some significant ties to this part of the world. My father, Samuel Plame, was a career Air Force officer, and he served in the South Pacific during World War II. In 1954, as a major, he was assigned to the 6900th Security Wing and worked at the IG Farben building in Frankfurt am Main in Air Force intelligence. My mother, Diane McClintock, wanting a little more adventure beyond teaching elementary school in the Philadelphia suburbs, applied for and got a job teaching the children of the 3rd Armored Division on Drake Edwards Barracks, which I understand is now closed. I think it closed after the Cold War. In any case, in December 1958, Sam and Diane met for the first time at the Officers Club. Apparently, he came up to my mother and said, "Hi, I'm Sam. Can I buy you a drink?" They were together for 49 years, and we lost my father in 2010. But both my parents spoke very fondly of their time here and their early days of dating here in Germany. And in fact, I have to show you something that means a lot to me anyway. Over Mother's Day, I spent time with my mother, and my brother and I were going through my father's files, and we found all kinds of things, including this card from 1958. It's Officers and Civilians Open Mess Frankfurt card, ID card to get in. But the really funny part is on the back, he has like all these girls' names, and there's numbers. There's Ursula and Gisilda. It's very sweet. So all of your hard work has paid off, and you will always remember this day and your time at Wiesbaden High School. You are now officially entering the next stage of your life, and without question, there are challenges facing you, both personally and for all the graduates of 2015. These challenges are significant. You're coming of age in a world fraught with strife, famine, terrorism, devastating climate change. Your earliest memories may be the tragic attacks of 9/11 and America's war footing since then. You definitely have your work cut out for you. However, it is also true that you and your generation face enormous problems. It is also an exhilarating, and I think in many ways, the best time to be alive. When I graduated from high school about 100 years ago, there were 3 network channels and something called UHF, where my father sometimes watched worldwide wrestling on Saturday afternoons for fun, and that was pretty much it. Getting cash meant you needed to go to the teller at the bank or a check cashing counter. If you missed an important telephone call, well, you had no idea. There used to be this saying, I know you haven't heard it, but don't wait by the phone for him or her to call. I mean, that just doesn't apply anymore. You are in an age of instant communication. With the explosion of technology and social media, it's easier than ever to find others who share your passions. You can foment positive social change faster and more powerfully than ever before in history. You can even text your parents when you might be a little late for your curfew. And friends and family who are not with you here today to share this occasion will see these pictures in about an hour. You might take it all for granted, but it really is amazing. And I want to remind you that you possess something that is truly invaluable: youth. It's the only commodity that is not for sale on the New York Stock Exchange. You actually own something now that no one else in the world can buy. You are a blank canvas. Anything is possible for you now. So don't waste it. Dive into it and the next chapter of your life and find out who you really are. To do that fully, however, you will need perseverance. Perseverance is defined as steadfastness in doing something despite difficulty or delay in achieving success. With perseverance comes resilience. There will be inevitable setbacks and failures. It comes with the description of life. Believe me when I say I know a little something about these characteristics. You may know that I used to be a spy. Yes, I am a former covert CIA operations officer. I was so proud to serve my country. My expertise was making sure that bad actors, whether they were rogue nation states or terrorists, did not get nuclear weapons. I loved what I did. But then one day in 2003, my CIA identity was betrayed by senior officials in the Bush White House because of, shall we say, political shenanigans. It immediately made doing my job, which I loved and for which I was highly trained, impossible. In the course of the political scandal, my husband and I were called liars and traitors, and those were the nice things. His business was destroyed and our reputations were shredded. There were some very dark days for our families. Needless to say, my plan of retiring as a senior intelligence officer serving overseas with the CIA was scratched. It felt like an enormous failure. Our family moved to Santa Fe, New Mexico in 2007, and we began the long and winding process of rebuilding our professional lives and our personal lives. And I really learned the meaning of the saying, life is not fair. The only thing to do is persevere, knowing that nothing stays difficult or wonderful forever. I thought I had my whole life mapped out, but it went spectacularly sideways in a way I had never, ever imagined. And yet it ultimately brought me experiences and insights that I never would have had otherwise. So here you are today in your cap and gowns and all the promise in the world. You're about to embark on the greatest run of your lives. You're adults now. The world is literally at your feet. Time and youth is on your side. So attack life. Savor it, experiment, make mistakes, change your mind, then change it back again. Find your interests, find your inspiration. Don't waste a minute, and don't leave any chips on the table. From even a brief review of your accomplishments, I know that the senior class of 2015 is already clearly well down that road. For example, there are 5 students that have received Army ROT scholarships. Your class has over $500,000 in financial aid and scholarships. You have a large variety of artistic, athletic, other academic scholarships, and just a partial list of colleges that you will attend include the University of Virginia, Berklee College of Music, the University of Alaska, the U.S. Air Force Academy, the U.S. Naval Academy, Oregon State University, and Virginia Tech. Wow. So I'm here today not as your parent, not as your teacher, just someone who has gone through what you're about to go through. And I've made some of these mistakes. No, wait, I've made all of these mistakes so you don't have to. Just a few things to consider. Number 1, don't take your studies half-heartedly. Good grades are important, but learning is even better. Take classes that challenge you and that really make you sweat. Dive headfirst into learning. You'll never have a better chance to learn about the world than you will in the next 4 years. Number 2, if you are not a morning person, do not take early classes. Even if you are a morning person, do not take early classes. I can't stress that enough. Number 3, join groups, join teams, just join. This may be the first time that you've lived away from your parents and the friends you have cultivated over your time in high school. Find out who you are. For example, my own passion happens to be nuclear counterproliferation. But it could easily be the history of Japanese kabuki, starring on Broadway, or working with at-risk children. In other words, find your tribe. Number 4, brush your teeth 3 times a day and floss daily. Do not laugh. Oral hygiene is very important. No one wants to kiss a dirty mouth. Number 6, sorry, I skipped one. Number 5, because this is important. If you fall in love, give it your all. Love is a rare thing. If you find it, enjoy it, embrace it, nurture it. The relationships you will have over the next few years are the ones that will stay in your hearts and minds forever. Number 6, don't be cruel to anyone. To this day, I can remember unconsidered or thoughtless things that I said or did when I was your age. These will weigh on your conscience forever. There is no excuse for cruelty. Number 7, listen to your parents. They aren't always wrong, and believe it or not, they really do want the best for you. As Mark Twain famously said, "When I was a boy of 14, my father was so ignorant I could hardly stand to have the old man around. But when I got to be 21, I was astonished at how much the old man had learned in 7 years." Number 8, when in doubt, trust your gut. I'm a firm believer in intuition. If something doesn't feel right or makes you nervous, get out of there. Number 9, live your life consciously. This is much harder than it sounds. And finally, number 10, call home once a week to check in. So as I mentioned, I live in Santa Fe, and I'm fortunate enough to be friends with Bill Broyles. And Bill Broyles is a very well-known screenwriter, and he wrote the screenplay for the huge movie hit Apollo 13. And one of the lines he wrote in that film has entered our popular lexicon, and that is, "Failure is not an option." Bill has pointed out time and again that that line is a lie. Don't believe everything in the movies. In fact, failure is an option. Because without experiencing the despair of failure, it means you're not trying hard enough or risking enough. Let me remind you that in baseball, if you fail 2 out of 3 times at bat, you make the Hall of Fame. But only if you step up to the plate and are willing to face that 95 miles per hour fastball. Sir Laurence Olivier, one of the greatest actors ever, suffered from stage fright his entire career. For more than 60 years, he threw up before absolutely every single performance. Fear was the price he paid for doing what he loved. Failure hurts. It can really, really hurt. But it forces us to use our wits, gather our energies, climb another mountain. Failure is hardwired into us. We are made in many ways to self-destruct. E.M. Forrester wrote, "We must love one another or die." The truth is, we need to do both. Great, brilliant failure makes life, for all its bruises and false starts, its blind alleys and sudden reversals, it's worth living full throttle. Because we have life so briefly. It's a blink of an eye, a whisper, and it's done. But for this moment, we are alive, and we love, and we dare to push beyond the boundaries of ourselves and to reach out to others and to make a difference. And so we risk the failures that save us, the failures, the very failures that make us human. So please practice what Wordsworth called the true measure of a good man, the nameless, unremembered acts of kindness and love. Graduates, go forth. Don't be afraid to fail. Good luck. Thank you.
The class of 2015 would like to thank Ms. Valerie Plame for coming to speak to us today. Let's give her another round of applause. As a sign of our appreciation, the seniors would like to present you with a gift. It was such an honor to have you here with us today to share this special moment. On behalf of the students and parents of the class of 2015, we would also like to thank our class sponsor, Ms. Marcy Grayson. From Tuesday meetings, prom planning, countless fundraisers, and many other crazed senior activities, Ms. Grayson was there to support and guide our class. This year has been amazing, and we thank you. And now, I would like to welcome the voice of the Wiesbaden Warriors, Mr. Chris Limes, who will be leading us in roll call.